Good evening, Bruchim Habayim Rabotai. For those of you who came out on Thanksgiving weekend to study Torah, at a time that sadly many Jews are busy in restaurants eating turkey instead of studying Torah, I have good news for you. The rabbis teach us that when you study at a time that other people are not studying, notel sachar keneged kulam, you get the reward for everybody else. So that's a pretty good deal. So you come, you study 1 hour of Torah now, and what Allah rewards you is if you study thousands and thousands of hours for all those who are not learning now. So we did something right by showing up tonight. There is a Gemara in Masechet Sukkah. The Gemara in Masechet Sukkah, Daf Mem Tet, Amud Bet. The Gemara says this: the Amar Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar teaches us, Mai dichti, what is it that it says in the pasuk? Higid lecha Adam ma tov, Uma Hashem doresh mimach. We're telling a person what's good and what God wants from him. Ki'im, only asot mishpat, doing judgment. The Gemara is going to explain. Ahavat chesed, loving kindness. Ve'hatznei alechet im elokecha, and to go in a hidden / humble way with Borei Olam. This is a pasuk in Mincha, if I remember correctly, Perik Vav, maybe pasuk Chet. The Gemara, Rabbi Elazar, and the Gemara in Sukkah is coming to explain what does pasuk mean. What are we referring to? Ma Hashem doresh mimach. What's Borei Olam want from us? Oh, what? What is it? And if this is what Borei Olam is really demanding from us or asking us, it would be important to start here and to really understand. So the Gemara says this: Asot mishpat means zehadin, judgment. Meaning, you have a dispute. Don't fight. Don't start all different silly things that will just harm people. Go ask a rabbi, a posek halacha, bet din. Find out what's the right thing to do. Go with a straight way. Have business ethics the right way. Fine. And there are many other explanations on that too, but that's not our discussion tonight. Then the Gemara says like this: Ahavat chesed. What does it mean to love kindness? Zu gmilut chasadim. That is doing acts of kindness. And this is what I want to discuss tonight. What's Rabbi Elazar saying? Ahavat chesed, the pasuk says. Love, ahava, love, chesed of kindness. Zu, that is gmilut chasadim. That's chesed. It seems like the pasuk said something much greater. And he downplayed the pasuk. He didn't add on. What's going on here? Maybe it should have said, Zu ahavat gmilut chasadim. At least then it would stay equal, we would understand. He doesn't do that. Cuts it back, he downplays it. Zu gmilut chasadim, that's doing kindness. Then we'll finish the Gemara, this piece of Gemara, so we get it right. Ve'hatznei alechet im elokecha, what does that mean? Zu, that is, Hotzaat hamet ve'hachnasat kala lechupa. Two opposite extremes. A very sad occasion and the happiest occasion in a person's life, assuming he made the right choice. Hotzaat hamet, God forbid somebody pass away, there's nobody to pay for his burial expenses. These things happen until today. Hachnasat kala, the girl has to get married, she has nobody to pay for a wedding. Or nobody to be by a wedding. There are all different forms of achnasat kala. It's not only a money thing. Nobody to encourage her towards a wedding. Mitzvah. And when we link these two together, we stick them into one thing. Go hidden with Borei Olam. What does going hidden with Borei Olam have to do with achnasat kala and God forbid levayat hamet? And why do we put such a happy occasion together with such a sad occasion? So the truth is, that's not a new connection. Tov lechet beit ha'avel mi beit mishteh. If a person has a choice to go tonight either to a funeral of a Jew or to a wedding of a friend, and he can't do both, he can only do one, comes to halacha and says, go to the funeral. Why? A wedding is a big mitzvah. We should always attend our friends' weddings. Very, very important. But The next day, what's left from a wedding? You talk about the flowers maybe, or the gown, or that's about it. The DJ. That's it. It's 4 hours of show that costs a lot of money for no reason. That's where it is. That's where it starts, that's where it ends. Well, and later, sometimes in today's weddings, it's not even such a productive 4 hours. I have a friend who's a rabbi, he's Mesadeh Kiddushin. He told me at the end of every chuppah, he gives the young couple his business card. Because on the back of the business card it says he also does marriage counseling and divorces if needed. But that's what we got up to already. My uncle Zechet Tzadik Livracha once told me, he was in a wedding hall, and he saw a sign by the wedding hall that they're closing down in a few weeks. So he knew the owner, he got scared, poor guy must have lost his parnasah. They went there, he said, what's going on here? You're closing down, you're busy every night. He says, I found a much better business. Now, what do you mean? He says, I'm converting the purpose of my hall. Now, what do you mean? He said, instead of a wedding hall, I'm turning it into a hall for divorce parties. In Israel, they have such a sick custom that it's a celebration to them to get divorced. They make a party for that too. He says, and he saw in the newspaper that year in the city that he lived in Jerusalem, near Jerusalem, there were like 400 and something weddings and 600 and something divorces. So there's a better business. So I'm not closing down, I'm switching the purpose. But by us normal people who follow the Torah and do things responsibly, a wedding is supposed to be the happiest occasion in a person's life. A funeral, tragic, sad. Even people that are very far, they go to a funeral and it irks them. It bothers them. Everybody sighs. Such a good guy. What happened to him? The Torah teaches us, go to the funeral. Because from there you can learn something. You that are alive, you could see, wait a second, what's life? One day we all end up there. So let me do something productive while I'm still around. You go to a wedding, what do you learn from there? No, you learn to dance, to eat, to sing, you gain a few pounds, that's it. So for that doesn't mean anything. There's no point. Of course, it's a mitzvah, we should always go to weddings. I stress that again, nobody should get the wrong impression. But that's why. So we see that the Torah already linked the two. But the Gemara continues and explains. The Gemara says, ועלות דברים קל וחומר, ומה דברים שדרכם לעשותם בפרהסיה, אמרה תורה הצנע לכת. דברים שדרכם לעשותם בצנעה, על אחת כמה וכמה. What's going on? Rashi explains, the Rishonim also add on, and this is what comes out. When we do acts of kindness, we'll give 2 examples. Somebody knows that there's a poor person, his next door neighbor is very poor, they don't have food for Shabbat. And he wants to give him a few $100s, he should go to the grocery store, buy food. Does the neighbor have to know who gave him the money? No. Go away till 2 o'clock in the morning, slip an envelope under the door. The guy's never going to know. Meaning, it's a great mitzvah, and it can easily be done in a way that the recipient has no idea where he got the money from. So is he ever going to get a thank you? No, because he doesn't even know who gave it to him. The guy doesn't know who to thank. Okay? Lo aleinu v'lo alechem, somebody passes away. There's nobody to take care of his body. We have to bury him. We have to do a funeral. We need a minyan to say Kaddish. This guy's a hero, tzaddik. Comes and he says, I'm paying for everything, I'm making the funeral. Is there a way that he can hide that nobody should know? No, because at least 9 other people have to know. Because he's arranging it. Can't do it in a hidden way. It's barim shebefarhesia. It's something that's done in a public way. The girl is getting married. There's no 10 people for a minyan. 10 Shomrei Shabbat for a minyan. They call him, be a 10th person. If you think these things don't happen, they do. I was once walking on the street in Rehov Yafo in Jerusalem, near Shuk Machne Yehuda, and somebody comes to me and says, we need a 10th person for a minyan. It was at night, 9 o'clock at night. I figured they need to pray Arvit. So I told him, I prayed Arvit already, so unless you have 6 people that didn't pray, I can't help you. I'll gladly come, why not? It's a big zechut to be part of a minyan. So he tells me, no, it's not for Arvit, it's for something else. I said, well, we need for a chuppah, we don't have a minyan. We don't have a minyan for a chuppah. And I went. We did a chasat kala. That's a form of a chasat kala. It doesn't cost any money. They didn't have 10 people. Why? The guy was very old, and his wife passed away. He was getting remarried to a woman. Also, her husband passed away. We're talking about people that were. The man was over 90. The woman was over 75. And so they didn't make a big party. They made it in somebody's dining room. They brought a rabbi from the Rabbanut, and he forgot to tell them in advance, you need 10 people. So the rabbi came with 2 witnesses. There was a chatan, we had 4, where they needed 6 more. So they went to the yeshiva next door, they asked the boys to come. The yeshiva only had 5 guys available, they were short 1 person. But that's she's the kala, whichever way you cut it. He's the chatan, whichever way you look at it. So we got to do a mitzvah to attend the wedding to be one of the 10 people. Is there any way to hide that? There's no way to hide that. It's public. There were 9 other people there. Without that, you can't do it. Comes the Gemara and says, when the Torah defines a mitzvah of kindness that has to be done by default in a public way, the Torah gives you advice and says even a mitzvah like that there has to be other people aware of. Make sure that as little people as possible find out. Because the more people that find out, the less of a mitzvah you have. Why? So Ben Ishchai, Ben Yoyada writes, unbelievable. He says, 2 different people walk into a wedding. Guy has a friend, he's marrying off his daughter. He invites his 2 close friends. 2 people show up to the chuppah. One guy shows up because a kala is getting married. There's a mitzvah to attend the chuppah. To be misameach, chatan v'kala. He's by the wedding. And another person shows up with different motives completely. The father of the girl, he's not getting married. He's not the chatan or kala. He's just the one paying the bills, maybe. He's marrying off a daughter, and he's my friend, and we do business together, so I got to be on good terms with him. So he doesn't show up for the chatan and kala. He doesn't even know who the kala is. He shows up, so people should see that he was there, so his friend should know he was there, and therefore he'll be happy. Yeah, my friend showed up when I invited him. What's the difference between the 2? The one that comes for the mitzvah of the wedding keeps a low profile. The other guy makes sure to stand right near the chuppah, and he makes sure wherever the photographer is, he's there, so he's in the pictures, and because his whole goal is to be seen. Comes the Torah and says, "V'hatznei alechet im elokecha." Even a mitzvah that has to be done, do it for pure motives. And what's the indicator if your motive is pure or not? If you do it in a hidden way or in the most publicized way possible. Adds on the Gemara and says, Kal vachomet, the regular mitzvot that don't have to be publicized. So what are you publicizing it for? What do you need a big plaque up at the entrance of the synagogue? You can't do it out? You want everybody to know. You're missing the point of the whole mitzvah. Okay. But again, our emphasis tonight, Be'ezat Hashem, and the merit of you, Ka'al Kadosh, is going to be on the middle segment. Ahavat Chesed, Zu Gmilut Chasadim. There is a Gemara in Yevamot, Daf Kuf Chaf Aleph Amud Bet. The Gemara in Yevamot says a very, very, very famous story. This Gemara is not only in Yevamot, it repeats itself, with a few minor changes. In Baba Kama Daf Nun Amud Aleph, it's also Midrash Rabbah. There are many sources to the same story. The Gemara says a story like this. Maaseh, there's a story. What's the Maaseh? Hanu Rabbanan, the rabbis learned. Maaseh bibito shel Nechunya choper sichim. There was a story with the daughter of a man named Nechunya, who his title, his profession was, he dug pits of water. So his daughter, Nafla lebor hagadol, she fell inside a pit. Uba'u v'hodiu l'Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa. People that knew about this, that she fell in a pit, they came and they notified Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa that she fell in. Why'd they go to him? They wanted him to pray to make a miracle. Sha'ah Rishona, the first hour, and the Pnei Yeshua explains, Tshuvot Chatam Sofer and Ibn Ezra, I think Tzadik Bet, if I'm not mistaken, also says the same thing, that Sha'ah Rishona means at the end of the first hour. They came and they told him, Amar Lahem Shalom, she's okay. Nothing happened to her. You go to a rabbi, you tell a girl fell into a pit of water, she's about to die, you would expect that he would say, call an emergency crew, go save her, what are you doing over here? What are you wasting time by me? Go run! No. He's calm, shalom, everything's okay. Shniya, another hour goes by. They come back to him, they say, Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, what's going on? Rabbi, what's with you? Pray, do something. Pushes them away, go. What happened? Shalom, everything's okay. Shlishit, 3 hours went by, and Sheilot B'Tshuvot Ma'ariti brings down that you see from this Gemara that 3 hours you can't live in a pit with water anymore, it's too much. So they weren't going to accept Shalom anymore, because by default that's it, it's over. So they come to him and they tell him in the 3rd hour, Rabbi, what's going on? Amar Lahem, he told them, Alta, she got out of there, everything's okay. The way I understand the Gemara, we have to make an observation before we continue. Look what Emunat Chachamim they must have had. The rabbi told them Shalom, and that's it. They didn't go see what's going on. And the proof that is when she came up, they didn't know. He told them Alta. Unbelievable. He said Shalom, that's it, it's okay. Okay, let's continue. Amarla. So he told her that this girl that was saved, Mi'elach, how'd you get out of there? If there was a whole emergency rescue crew, so how did she get out of there? They pulled her out. The fact that he's asking her, Mi'elach, who got you out of there, means they didn't send an emergency rescue crew. That's the way I understand it. They relied on Shalom, everything's okay. So Mi'elach, so how'd you get out of there? So he told them, Amalo zachar shel rechelim nizdamen li v'zaken manhigo. A ram came together with an old man leading it, and the animal with the old man together, they saved me. Comes Rashi right away and says, which animal and which old man? And how did they get in the pit and how did they get out? Rashi says, Zachar shel rechelim is Elo shel Yitzchak Avinu alav hashalom. The ayil that was caught over there instead of by the Akedah. That from there we have Shofaro shel Mashiach, inshallah soon we'll hear. And the Zaken that was leading him, who led Yitzchak to the Akedah, Vayilchu shneim yachdav, his father, Abraham Avinu. Abraham Zaken, Baba Yamim. So Abraham Avinu, together with the Elo shel Yitzchak, came to the pit of water and saved this girl out. Got her out. They were the rescue team. Amazing. Comes the Gemara and says, Amrulo, so the students are listening to this, and the rabbi was right. 2 hours she was there. The 3rd hour, Abraham Avinu comes and gets her out. So they told him, Nabiata, you a prophet? How'd you know? So he told them, Amar lahem, Lo Nabi Anochi v'lo ben Nabi Anochi. I'm not a prophet and I'm not the son of a prophet. Nothing. So what am I? Ela davar shehatzadik mit'asek bo yikashel bo zaro. Something that this great tzaddik was busy with, his kids would get harmed by, it's impossible. That's how I knew for sure that she's getting out. What does that mean, davar shehatzadik mit'asek bo? Rashi tells us the story. Am Yisrael 3 times a year from all over the world come up Olei LaRegel. They're going to Jerusalem to the Beit Mikdash. We should merit to do the same very shortly. Hopefully before Pesach this year already. Now they're going, men. Probably they brought their kids with them, Chinuch, maybe some of the kids. They have animals, right? That's how they traveled. Their Mercedes were donkeys. They need water, they need a drink. They're in the deserts, going up to Jerusalem, they're thirsty. So this great man, this Nechunya that the Gemara titles him Tzaddik, Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa titles him Tzaddik. What made him a Tzaddik? He used to go and dig pits so they should get filled up with water and then cover them, then nothing should go wrong. So when the Olei Galim would come, they would have water to drink on the way. They shouldn't be thirsty. Now this takes a lot of planning. Because in Israel, it doesn't rain all year like here. It rains a few months a year. In Halavai it should rain a few months a year. Thank God. God blessed us with big bracha. We started off the year with good rain. It should continue this way. So he had to go right after Sukkot. When they're done, Aliyah Regel, comes the rain season. Mashiva Ruach Monit HaGeshem. You got to run out there, dig pits, put something inside to insulate them, to seal them, that the water shouldn't get absorbed in the ground, and wait for the rain. As soon as it rains and the pits of water fill up, he closed them. So 6 months later, when Pesach comes, we can uncover the pits and the Jews should have what to drink. But listen to Rashi's words. Rashi writes, Le'olei regalim, that's what he used to dig the pits for. Umayim mitkansim bahem, water would go into them. Vehayu shotim hen ubehemtan. They used to drink, them and their animals. And I want to ask you a question. Who cares? Who cares who drank? Just the fact that he did it alone was great. Second of all, if he did it for them and not for the animals, that's not a good deed. Rashi stresses, and how do you know that Rashi is stressing something, not just saying the story? Because in the Gemara in Baba Kama Daf Nun, when the Gemara says the same story, Rashi over there doesn't talk about the animals. He just says that the Olei Galim would drink. So you see, if over here he added on the animals, he's coming to teach us something. And I, as a very innocent boy, say, who cares? I care who drank. He's a great man. It's like, imagine a guy had guests for Shabbat, and after Shabbat, we want to talk about him, what a good man he is, that he had so many guests. And we said he had 42 people, and one of them had a cat. He also bought cat food for the cat. Who cares? That makes a difference. He had guests, that's it. That's what counts. You have to get into every little detail. What's going on here? And Rashi never says even a letter for no reason. Every letter has a reason. It's calculated. Number two, comes the Ben Yehoyada and asks, unbelievable question. The Gemara said, we quoted, Shenafla, that she fell, lebor gadol, to a big pit. He says, who cares what size the pit was? If it was big, if it was small. It's just the opposite. If it's a big pit, it's a lot easier to get her out. If it's a small pit, there's more danger to go down and get her out. She can die a lot quicker. And less oxygen can get in. It's so much more risky. So why does the Gemara come to tell us this was a bor gadol? She fell in a bor. What does it make a difference which bor it was? We'll answer this soon. But what's the conclusion of the Gemara? That because her father dug those pits to do chesed with them, then there's a rule that we should make part of our lives. From chesed, you don't get hurt. From doing chesed, you don't lose. And as soon as Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa heard that his daughter fell into a pit that he dug to do chesed with the Olei Galim, he said, nothing to worry about. Why? Because if this was done for chesed, there's no way that his daughter's going to get hurt there. And I want to ask you something. We all do chesed. Each and every one of us. I'll share with you something personal. The afternoon before Yom Kippur, meaning a day earlier, a day prior, during Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, on a flight back, sitting 4 or 5 hours on a flight. You gotta keep yourself busy. Sometimes I listen to some CDs, this, to that, whatever. Learn, try to sleep. This time I dedicated my time to doing something that most people in the plane who probably saw me thought I was mentally retarded. But I don't care. I don't have to impress anybody. I was reading the yellow pages of a phone book. And this is not a joke, this is serious. You hear this? I was on a flight from Panama back to New York. And I was sitting on the plane reading a yellow pages of a phone book. I said if you make teshuvah, every second is priceless. Every second. That's what I have to do to waste my time with, to read the yellow pages? I wasn't reading the yellow pages of Verizon's phone book. And not of Panama's phone book either. I was reading the yellow pages of the Madrich HaCharedi, the Orthodox phone book of Bnei Brak. A week earlier, I called an employee of mine in Israel, and I said, I have an emergency favor. She said, what do you need? I said, go to Bnei Brak, buy me the new directory that came out Erev Rosh Hashanah, run emergency to the post office, ship it to me express, EMS, it should get to me in 2 days. I need it desperately. She said, Rabbi, is everything okay? I said, I'll explain you after Yom Kippur, there's no time now. And she sent it to me, that's how I had it. Brand new, fresh, Tafshin Ayin Bet, Madrich Bnei Brak. But I didn't read the yellow pages from the beginning. I started by the third area, the third letter, Gimel. Gmach. Gemilut Chasadim. Let me tell you what I was reading. I was reading in the yellow pages that was approximately 200 pages thick. 86 of the pages were organizations or private people that were doing chesed. 86 of the pages, almost 45% of that phone book was chesed. And I was reading them one by one, because each one was a world of its own. And every time again I would get all emotional. There's a woman in Bnei Brak who lives on Rehov Rabbi Akiva. She has a gmach for pacifiers. Listen to this. You got a newborn baby. He's crying at night. You don't have a pacifier at home because he lost it. And you can't put him to sleep. And the kid wants a pacifier. And Bnei Brak is not Queens. There's no 24-hour CVS. I don't know if they have one here either. But let's say you do. A Rite Aid or whatever. So what do? We got a problem. So this lady puts an ad. She has a gmach. She stocks in her house pacifiers. If your baby is crying at night, call me. And she writes in big bold letters, B'chol sha'ah, any hour. She could be in the middle of her sleep. Later on I called the lady. I had to know how many children she has. I figured maybe this is a woman who's 80 years old, doesn't have no children at all, no grandchildren at all, whatever, so she can wake up in the middle of the night. She's 40 years old, Ben Porat Yosef, she has 13 children. Here it is. A mother of 13 children is waking up in the middle of the night, not only for her kids crying, for every boy in Bnei Brak that's crying. So I said, do people really call you? She call every night. Okay, next one. Brit HaChesed. Listen to this one. I didn't understand what was going on there. It just said Sudat Brit Milah Kiyad HaMelech. I said, this is catering. What's Gemilut Chasadim here? I picked up the phone. I called the guy when I landed. I said, hey, you, sir, help me out over here. This is what? You're making a Brit Milah tomorrow? You need anything? I said, no Brit Milah. At the right time we'll make a Brit Milah. But I have a question for you. This is what? So what do you do? Are you a caterer? He says, where did you see my ad? I said, what does that make a difference? He said, because based on where you saw my ad is how I'm going to answer you. So I said, I saw it in the Madrich of Bnei Brak, Gemilut Chasadim. So he says, no, I'm not a caterer. I said, so what are you? He says, I'm a guy who my mitzvah in life is to make Brit Milahs for people. So anybody who is making a Brit Milah needs somebody to make the Seudah, I make it for him. I don't, come on. I'm an American boy, that story doesn't sound right. I never heard of this Segula before. If it would have been a Segula, it would have been in all the books printed already. You would have had every single girl making Brit Milahs all day. Tell me, what's going on with you? So he tells you, tell me the truth. You didn't have a baby recently, you don't need a Brit Milah? I said, no, I don't think I made a Brit Milah Pesach a year and a half ago, everything's fine. So he says, let me tell you. In Bnei Brak, there are many Kollel students that have kids and they can't afford to make a Brit Milah. So the poor guy either has to borrow money, ask for charity, which are both very uncomfortable, or make a Brit Milah in a very embarrassing way. And in Israel, they're very makpi that they make the Brit Milah with meat, even if it's early in the morning. They don't do like we do, bagel lox and cream cheese. The Sudat Mitzvah, they feel that it's respectful to do it with meat. So this guy who's a caterer, has a professional catering business for his parnasah, has a separate division which is dedicated to giving free Brit Milahs to anybody who can't afford. But we're not done yet. He doesn't want the person to feel uncomfortable that he's a charity case, so he doesn't advertise, if you can't afford, I'll give you a Brit Milah. I market it, he tells me, as if this is my mitzvah in life. So people should think they're doing me a favor, because I need the Segula. So I asked the guy innocently, I said, so how many of these do you do a year? 5, 6, what do you do a year? So he tells me, this morning we did 8. I said, beautiful, 8 days Brit Milah, 8 Brit Milahs in one morning, the 8th day after Kippur, Avaset Yimei Tshuva, 8, Hashem should see and make miracles for Am Yisrael. And I hung up the phone. Here it is. A guy opens an organization, which today, thank God, Borei Olam gave me the merit to be part of helping him out. My students like the Segula, even though it's not a real one, and they all send them. Maybe one week that'll be our envelope. Unbelievable. And in a day, he's able to do 8 Brit Milahs for free. So that the guy who's needy shouldn't feel second class. We have chesed galore. And why did I choose to read this phone book before Yom Kippur? Because those of you who prayed with me, I walked into Kippur very confident. Because in my mind was one and only one thing. Borei Olam, take all the sins of Am Yisrael, bring it on. And let's put those 86 pages of Gemilut Chasadim on the other side. I want to see what's going to tip the scale. Tion b'mishpat tipadeh v'shaveh b'tzedakah. We have tzedakah v'chesed more than anything in the world. Unlimited tzedakah. So now I want to ask a very tough question. If we have so much tzedakah v'chesed, if we're doing so many great things, why it doesn't look... I never saw Avraham Avinu showing up to save any sick person. Where's Avraham Avinu saving all those that lost their money, that gave so much charity over the years? Where's the zaken with the ayu coming down to save the girl who's in need, the boy who has problems, the third guy's in legal trouble, the fourth guy's losing his money, the fifth guy was sick? Where is he? The Gemara teaches us he did chesed with the Oleh Galim. Avraham Avinu saved his daughter. Not even him, his daughter. So where is it? Today more than ever we should have Avraham living here. With the amount of chesed that we do. We are probably the greatest generation of chesed ever. Ken Yirbu, we should always do more, because sadly there's a need. Till Mashiach comes, there won't be a need. And even then we'll continue doing chesed, and that will show in a minute. So where is it? Why aren't we saved? As one who has to hear the problems of Am Yisrael a lot of hours a day, every day I'm faced with this question. People call me, Rabbi, I give millions of dollars to charity, and I lost so much money just now. How could it be? I do so much good, and I have this and this problem in my family. How could it be? My son is such a Talmid Chacham. Lo Aleinu, he's sick. How could it be? So number one, I'm not God's spokesman. So, I don't know, ask him directly maybe. But on the question of why didn't the Chesed bring Abraham Avinu to save the problem, that's what I want to answer tonight. Let's go back to last week's parasha for a minute, so we can already, once we're at it, add in another beautiful biur to understand a piece of Chumash. Torah teaches us when Eliezer went to get the shidduch, Eliezer goes to get the shidduch for Yitzchak Avinu. So what does he do? He says a prayer. It wasn't a condition, because if it was a condition, it would be asur. We don't do kishuv. If this happens, then I do this and this. No. It was a prayer, a tefillah, the Rishonim say. And he said like this, Aseh chesed im Adoni Abraham. He's praying. What? Hinei anochi nitzav al ein hamayim. I'm standing right near the well. Ubnot anshe ha'ir yotzot lishov mayim. And the girls are coming out to draw water from the well. I'm going to go to one of the girls, ask her to give me a little bit of water from her jug for me to drink, so I could drink. And she's going to answer me, you drink, and I'll also give all your camels to drink. So he traveled himself with 10 more camels, together with him. Probably there were 10 servants leading the other 10 camels. You know how much a camel drinks? A lot, right? So I wanted to know. So before I gave this class, on the way here, I decided that one of the wonders of Google is that you can find out everything. So I asked Google, how much does a camel drink? Then directed me to some government website that talks about animals. And over there it says, in one shot, not what it drinks the whole day, just one shot, between 30 and 50 gallons. Between 30 and 50 gallons. Between 300 and 500 gallons of water, besides for him, besides for the extra camel. And if there were servants there, besides for them. A 3-year-old girl. This is his prayer. Otau chachta, then I know that she's the one for Yitzchak Avinu. I got a bunch of questions on this. They're not mine, all the rabbis asked them. Question number 1 is, this says in the Sefer called Ma'ayan Bet HaShoevat from Rav Shimon Schwab Zechet Tzadik Livracha Zchuto Yagen Aleinu Amen. Hinei anochi nitzav al ein hamayim. I'm standing by the well. Who cares where you're standing? You're praying. What does it make a difference where you're standing? It's like imagine you're praying in the synagogue and you tell God, I'm standing on the 3rd row here in the synagogue and therefore I need this and this. I know where you're standing, it's fine. Well, but Elam didn't know where you were standing, you had to notify him? You had to let him know? Hey God, look at me, not him. I'm standing here. Malek Olam Kulo. He's all over. What does that mean? Number 1. Number 2, halacha. If you go out onto the street and you see chamor achicha, another Jew's donkey, rovetz tachat masao, collapsed under the weight, had too much weight. Or if we'll bring it down to our terms in 2012, you're driving on the highway, you see a friend that is driving a car, that's his chamor, with a flat tire, collapsed. What does the Torah say? Lo tuchal litalem, you can't look away. I'm busy, I'm in a rush, I gotta get to work. No. Azov ta'azov imo, stop, help him out. Give him a hand. Comes the Gemara and teaches us a halacha. Let's say you pulled over on the side of the highway, you're on the BQE, you're going to the city, right by the Midtown Tunnel, you see a friend stuck with his car. You pull over to help him switch the tire. You open the trunk, you pull out the spare with the jack and everything, whatever you need. And this guy sits down on the grass on the side, takes a cup of coffee, lights up a cigarette, he's watching you changing his tire. You know what the halakha says? Leave it. Go. Don't fix it. Azov ta'azov imo. Help him out, but only if it's with him, if he's helping along. But if he wants you to do it and he's sitting on the side, forget about it. Lehavdil elef alfei avdalot. Almost 2,000 years later in medicine, today the therapeutic world very strongly agree that you can only help somebody who's willing to work to be helped himself. But if you're trying to help him and he doesn't want to help himself, you're wasting your time. Nothing's going to come out of it. Azov ta'azov imo. With him. So I got a question. Eliezer was the president of Abraham Avinu's home. Meaning, he must have been a big, strong guy. He ran the show. Chazal say he was a strong guy. Rivka is a 3-year-old girl. He's a strong man with servants working for him. She's a 3-year-old girl. He goes to her and he says, I'm thirsty. According to the halakha, it's a nice thing, chesed, you should help him out. But I got 2 questions. Number 1, if she would have told him, here's my jug, draw some water for yourself, no problem. Is she a ba'alat chesed? Yeah, for sure. She lent him a jug, very nice. Your friend needs a ride, you can't give her a ride, you give her the car. Did you do chesed? Sure, you did chesed. If you're a teenager, you did mesirut nefesh to give up your car to somebody else, oh my God. It could be life and death sometimes. So if Eliezer is looking to see if she's a ba'alat chesed, then why does he have to take it to such an extreme? That she should say, I'll give you to drink, and I'll give the camels to drink, and I'll give everybody to drink, and then I know she's for Yitzchak. If he's looking for ba'alat chesed, all she has to say is, here you go, I'll help you out, take my jug. She's a ba'alat chesed? That's number 1. Number 2, what he's asking for is against the halakha. Azov ta'azov imo. If he's going together with her to draw the water, then maybe she should help him out. But if he sits on the side and says, you give me and the camels, she doesn't have to help him. Stay there. I'm going. You don't want to help yourself, I don't want to help you. These are very tough questions. Part of them the Rishonim ask already. So what's going on here? So to understand this, let's learn a piece in Abot Rabbi Natan. I'm going to quote from inside, because if it didn't say this stuff inside, you wouldn't be allowed to say it. Seventh perek. Yosef ben Yochanan ish Yerushalayim. This is going on a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot that we know by heart. Omer, Yehi betcha patuach lirvacha. Your house should be open, wide open. V'yu aniyim b'nei betcha. What does a ben bayit mean in Hebrew? Somebody who lives in the house, a regular. The poor people shouldn't knock on the door and get $1 and be sent away. V'yu aniyim b'nei betcha. They should dwell by you. Ve'al ta'abes simcha im ha'isha. Fine. Up to here we know by heart from Pirkei Avot. Comes Avot Rabbi Natan and writes like this. Yehi betcha patuach lirvacha keitzad. What does that mean that your house should be wide open? Milamed sheyeh beto shel adam patuach lirvacha. A person's house should always be wide open for guests. What does it mean wide open? He should have a door. Lidarom, to the north, to the south, lemizrach, to the east, lemarav, litzafon, to the north, all the sides. Every side of his house, he should have a door. Kigon, where do we know this from? Iyov, she'asa arba'a ptachim lebeto. Iyov, when he built this house, he built a custom home. He built 4 doors, all sides. Why? Why did he make 4 doors to his house? If a poor guy's coming and needs something to eat, he shouldn't have to go around to the other side of the house to get in. He should have easy access, right in, straight in. Somebody comes from Tzafon, he should go in on that side. Everybody goes straight in. You don't have to circle the house to find the door. Alright, let's continue. Comes Avot Rabbi Natan and he says this. They don't have to live by you 24/7. No, that's not. That's too much already. That's on the account of your family. That's not a mitzvah anymore. So what does it mean? Ela sheyu aniyim mitzichin ma sheochlim v'shotim b'toch betcha. When the poor people have a meal by you and they leave, they should like the food so much that afterwards they should talk about it. They enjoy, like if you go to a good restaurant, you call a friend, I went to this new restaurant, it was unbelievable. Which, by the way, is a mitzvah on its own of chesed. Let your friend know that such a restaurant exists. Maybe he also wants to get good food. I'm not joking, I'm serious about that. That's a form of chesed, and we're going to prove it in a minute. So the poor people should like the food in your house so much that when they leave the house, they talk about it. Had such good food by Yov, it was unbelievable. What a good cook his wife is. כדרך שהיו עניים משיחים, מה שאוכלים ושותים בתוך ביתו של איוב. וכשנפגשו זה בזה, when the poor people met each other, what they say? אמר אחד לחברו, where are you coming from? Where are you going to? The answer always was Eov. That was the Grand Central Station. Anybody needed anything, you went to Eov. וכשבא עליו ההוא פורענות, so was he a great charity giver? If you hear about somebody today, the guy built a brand new home, $3 million. You know how he built his home? Very interesting. 4 main entrances. Every side he has a main entrance. And he bought a square block, so it's easy access for everybody to come. Unlimited parking, like a wedding hall outside. Valet parking to his house. You walk in, whatever you want to eat, you eat. And not regular, the best food, anything you like, you get. Oh, we say, wow, what about, unbelievable, right? They would write whole books about it. We would have another Maggid series, just about this guy's house. That's what we would have. Eov was the biggest Baal Yisurim ever, probably. The Sefer Eov describes how you deal with Yisurim and suffering. So came on him these terrible tragedies. He lost everything, his money, his kids, he was sick, every problem that there is. You learn Eov, you could tremble just from seeing what he went through. So right away he turns to Borei Olam. He says, God, I don't understand. Ribono shel Olam, what's going on? Am I not Eov that used to give the poor to eat? Mashket tzmeim, give the thirsty to drink? And they bring the pasuk. He didn't only give food. He had another organization in his house, in the basement. He had a free clothing store. You need clothing, designer clothes for free, Eov's basement. Come try on, tailoring on the spot, shadnez, everything you need, ready product, you're ready to go. God, I was about chesed. I saved everybody. How could you do this to me? It's not fair. What happened to Bachanuni Nabazot? Test me with this. I gave charity. What happened? Comes Borei Olam to Eov and he answers him, Adayin lo higata lechatzi shiur shel Abraham. He didn't even reach half the level of Abraham Avinu. Why? The rest you read inside yourself. I'm going to summarize because we're running out of time. For 3 reasons. A guy walks into Abraham Avinu. Abraham had 4 doors, Eov had 4 doors. But there was a difference. Guy comes into Abraham Avinu, he says, Abraham, I'm very hungry. He walks into Eov, I'm hungry. When he walked into Eov stops him and says, okay, you're hungry? Sit down quick, we'll get you food. What do you like to eat? So he tells him, I like to eat bagels with cream cheese. Eov says, no problem. He goes to the kitchen, brings him bagels and cream cheese. Next guy comes in, it's Thursday night. Eov, I'm hungry. What do you like to eat? He says, in my community, they eat cholent and gefilte fish. He runs into the kitchen, he brings it to him. Next guy comes in, what do you like to eat? He had all the nations of the world's food. So everybody should have the food that he's used to. Which if you heard my CD about Achmasat Ochrim, you learn that that's a chiyuv al pi halacha. When you have guests, you have to serve them the food that they like, not the food that they don't like. I don't go for Shabbat to anybody's house. I'll tell you the secret why. I'm Syrian, I can't eat most of the food. I'm going to go, they're going to serve me certain things, God forbid what's going to be. I'm not going to have Shabbat, I'll be Shabbat, I'll fast. But I'm not going to call and say, hello, make me food that I like. So I just stay away and that's it, I play safe. Better safe than sorry. Or when I have to go sometimes to different places, I take a backup in my little bag, just in case. I should have, chalot that aren't sweet like sugar and whatever. And I should have food that, for Shabbat. Backup plan. That's Achnasat Orchim. Eob did that. Giant, right? Comes Abot Rabbi Natan and says, no good. Why? This is what happened by Abraham. Guy walks in, I'm hungry, Abraham. Okay, what do you like to eat? I like to eat bagels and cream cheese. So Abraham turns to him with a smile on his face and he says, my dear friend, that you'll eat in the bagel shop on Main Street. But in my house, we don't serve cheap food. Come, let me give you some sushi, let me give you some steak, let me give you some good wine. Next guy comes in. Abraham, I want to eat. Now all of you don't take this personal, but I have to say it. What do you want to eat? Burnt rice. I'm sorry, in my house we eat food, not burnt food. Let me give you real food. You want a steak? Fresh ribs right off the rack? We'll give it to you. He said, I don't know what that is. I never ate it in my life. So Abraham would sit down with the guy and say, let me teach you how to do it. Yeah. Literal. Avot Rabbi Natan. Look inside. See that I'm not forging. He showed him everything. What do you want to drink? I want to drink Coke. Okay, you got Coke. No problem. But why Coke? I have wine. From Israel. From the best wine yet. $100 a bottle. Come drink. I never drank wine in my life. Okay, I'll teach you how to do it. Sits with him, teaches him, open the bottle, put it in the cup, hold it by the thing, everything, all the details, how to drink, what to do. Teaches him. People on the outside said, what's wrong with Abraham? The guy's happy with bagels and cream cheese, just get it over with. That wasn't Abraham. He's doing a mitzvah. He's feeding somebody the best. Somebody calls me one day and says, Rabbi, I want to take you out for lunch. I was hungry, I was happy. I said, okay, Fadal. So he tells me, I'll meet you at 2 o'clock in Kosher Delight. I told him, you go to Kosher Delight and I'll go to Solo. It's okay. So you're taking me out, at least take me out to Makom HaRaui Lekach. You're doing the mitzvah, do it right. Do it all the way, do it with a whole heart. Not a half job. Difference number 1. Continue. Difference number 2. Eob sat in his house. He was a rich man at the beginning. Had servants, had everybody working for him, a whole catering staff, and waited for the people to come in. Everybody knew you come to Eob's house. We learned 2 weeks ago in the parasha, Avraham Avinu didn't do that. When Avraham Avinu's house was empty, he didn't stay home and wait for the next guy to come. He went outside. When he was on the 3rd day from the Brit Milah from surgery, he went out to the street to look for guests. He didn't wait for the guy that's in need to come to him. He actively went to look for the guy in need. Number 2. Number 3. Eob, food was available in his house. That was it. Avraham Avinu says in Avot Rabbi Natan, not only served food in his own house, he opened free restaurants all over. Abraham's restaurants. Come eat all you want, free of charge. So a guy shouldn't have to walk all the way to his house. Sometimes somebody invites you for dinner. It's not an invitation. You've got to drive an hour to get to his house and an hour back. So what type of invitation is that? For that, go get pizza in 5 minutes. They want to do it right, so maybe they should offer you to pick you up, get you a ride, and make arrangements. It's not a half a job. Abraham was aware of that problem. So he opened things all over. Everybody should have near their house Abraham's Achnasat Orchim. Today we see it live. The thousands of American Jews that support a few different organizations of Achnasat Orchim. For example, in Miron, Lag BaOmer, the weekend of Lag BaOmer by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, they serve more food there than all the wedding halls in Brooklyn together a whole year. It's not a joke. It's serious. If any of you were there, you know, you saw it with your own eyes. They fight with you to eat. Sometimes I tell them, how much could you eat already? Enough. Every 10th they're coming to me, eat something, come in, drink something, do it. And where's all that money coming from? People that don't even go to Miron. American Jews have a few dollars, they donate Achnasat Orchim. That's Avraham Avinu's kids. In a different town, in a different country, 6,000 miles away. Achnasat Orchim they're doing. Unbelievable. But Eob only did it in his house. Okay? But stop, I got a question. Let's say you know 2 people. One guy is worth $100 million, the other guy's worth $150 million. Would you call the guy who's worth $100 million poor because there's another guy who has more? Oh, he's rich, and he's richer. Iyov, did he do achnasat orchim? Yes. Did he do charity? Yes. Abraham did more, fine. Adayin lo igata lechetzi, you didn't get the half. So what? But I did so much. What type of answer is that? What did God answer him? He was a good man, he did. So he could have done more, fine. But he did. I'll give you a mashal. A woman, B'Sha'at Torah, is pregnant, has a baby. And she's a smart mother. She knows that it's healthy for the kid to feed the baby herself. So she doesn't go and slip him with bottles right away. She bonds with her kid in a healthy way. One day, for whatever reason, the kid is sleeping more hours than the usual. The way Borei Olam made a mother's nature is that after a few hours, she starts feeling pain. She can't handle all the milk that she produced inside of her for the kid, and it has to come out. So if the kid's around, you wake up the baby to feed him, even though he's sleeping. Or there are other solutions also. Why is it like that? Why did God make it on demand? Whatever's needed is there. More than that is not there. What's going on there? Come the rabbis and say there's nothing in the nature that's done for no reason. You know why it's like that? It's because that is the essence of a true mother. A mother is constantly looking for ways to give her child. A mother is constantly looking for ways to do more for her children. And somebody who doesn't do that is not a mother, even though biologically she may be. A mother is constantly looking for ways to help the children, to give them, to do for them, to better their lives, to bring more happiness to them. And a mother's greatest pain is not being able to give her children. So when a few hours went by and she can't give her baby anything, she suffers. She's in pain because she wants to give. That's a mother. Based on this, there's a great rabbi in Bnei Brak that meant much of what I said tonight. I heard from him. His name is Rabbi Rosenblum. We quote him plenty. He said a brilliant idea. He said what Borei Olam is teaching Iyov is that why did you behave different than Abraham? Or why did Abraham behave different than you? There was one difference. That Abraham Avinu was like a mother to the whole Am Yisrael. He had a need to help Jews. He had a burning desire inside to better another Jew's life. And if he didn't do it, his suffering of not having guests was greater than his suffering of his surgery. So he left the house and he went to find guests. You were a Baal Chesed, you were a great man. When the other person needed it. But you didn't have the need to give it to him. Comes out of Avot Rabbi Natan a frightening lesson that we have to take to hearts. There's two types of chesed. Chazdo shel Abraham, the charity of Abraham Avinu, the need to better another Jew's life, to go out there and actively look to do more chesed, not to wait for the opportunity to come to you. And Iyov's chesed. Iyov's chesed, we can define a charity organization. You have a need, come to us, fill out a form, the secretary will call you back, we'll hassle you a little bit, and in the end give you a few dollars. Abraham Avinu was midat chesed. Okay? Now let's go back to all our questions. They're answered in one shot. We'll walk away with such a brilliant thing that's priceless. Come the rabbis and say like this. Brilliant. What do we ask? The Gemara says that he dug pits for the Olei Regel. Rashi says for them and their animals to drink. So we ask, who cares? The Gemara says that Abraham Avinu came to save her. We ask, why doesn't Abraham Avinu come to save us? You know what the answer is? Abraham Avinu only saves a person who does Chazdo shel Abraham. The charity of Abraham Avinu, who actively goes out there to do charity, who does it in the best way, who gives people more than they ask for, more than they need. That's who Abraham Avinu comes to save, because that's his school. He protects his own. Avraham Avinu doesn't protect those who do Chasdo Shel Iyov. Over there he doesn't do it. Comes the Gemara and says, Avraham Avinu went to save him because he did Chasdo Shel Avraham. Rashi is bothered by who said, maybe not. Comes Rashi and says, 6 months before Pesach, right after Sukkot, he already went out to the streets to prepare the pits. And not only did he make them for the people, for the ones who really desperately need it, even for the animals, who they could drink anything. They could do it out. They could survive. They could even drink dirty water. Even for them. He went and made pits. Why? Because that was Chasdo Shel Avraham. He did more than what was needed, actively going out there. Part 1. Eliezer knew who Avraham Avinu was. So he needed to bring a shidduch that's fit for Avraham Avinu's culture. So is a girl who offers Eliezer to give him, to loan him her bucket, is that a Baalat Chesed? For sure. But that's not good enough for Avraham Avinu's house. That's good enough for a stranger's house, not for Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu needs a kid that's Chasdo Shel Avraham. Chasdo Shel Avraham is you do more than you have to. Is you do more than you're asked for. Is you offer on your own, you actively go and do. And that's why Eliezer, Al Pi Halacha, she didn't have to do it, but that's exactly what Eliezer was looking for. That she shouldn't have to do it. She shouldn't be supposed to do it at all. She sees a big guy, he can do it in a second. No, I'll do it for you anyway. How many times a day do I hear from people this dumb comment? I'm not going to help him, he can do it on his own. He's a big boy, let him do it. You're Iyov, you're not Avraham Avinu. That is synagogue, they're a wealthy synagogue, why should I donate to them? You're Iyov, you're not Avraham Avinu. You're making other people's calculations of their needs. You don't have a burning desire to help another Jew, because if you did, you wouldn't think on the recipient's end. You would only think about yourself, you would go and give. And I'm going to say something that I know on the recording later on when my friends hear this is not going to be so popular. But thank God I don't make a salary from any synagogue, so nobody could fire me. When they came to me and said, why did we lose our money? We gave so much charity. I had a very painful answer. When us rabbis had to go to ask for charity, did we have open doors in the offices? Or did we have to make appointments and get bounced around from secretary to secretary and waste 4 or 5 hours that could have been used for Torah and mitzvot waiting online? And not even see the person himself, see some gabbai of a gabbai or some assistant of a gabbai, half the time it's a goya it all, and then get a check. Sadly, in most cases, the second is the answer. Chasdo Shel Iyov. You come to me, you're desperate, I'll give you what you ask for. But me to go to you? No. You come to me. You make an appointment, you wait 3 weeks. In the best case, 3 weeks. And then hope that a month later we remember to mail you a check. You may have given millions, but you gave it like Iyov. That doesn't protect you. You want protection? You want to be sure that your money doesn't get lost? You want to be sure that nothing could ever harm you in business? Be Chasdo Shel Avraham. You go to the rabbi. You know a rabbi. You know he does good work. See what he needs. Say, Rabbi, how can I help you? What do you need? I want to do something for you. You know you have a neighbor who is unemployed for years. He has 5 kids in the school system. How's he paying tuition? He's not. He has a need. Don't embarrass him. Go straight to the school. Say, what's the bill? Let me help you out. Tell him you gave him a discount. He should never know where it came from. Chasdo Shel Avraham Avinu. Don't wait for his kids to get thrown out of school because they didn't pay tuition, which is a disgrace on its own that we would throw a kid out of school over money. And then, okay, we have to make an emergency problem. We need to help the guy out. That's everything against Avraham Avinu. And that's why he doesn't come down to protect. So yes, we have chesed more than any institution in the world, more than any nation in the world, more than any place in the world. We are the nation of kindness. But maybe and only maybe, we're lacking in the active care. We're lacking in Chasdo Shel Avraham Avinu. And we started with our mass distribution around the world of Torah CDs and now Sfarim and many other things, and websites and everything else. Our motivation was exactly this, Avot Rabbi Natan. Why wait for the guy to maybe show up in the synagogue to hear a shiur Torah? Go after him. Give him to his house the Torah. Give it to his car. Put it in front of his face in every restaurant that he goes. Chasdo shel Avraham. But then comes one more piece. When Avraham Avinu opened those restaurants on the street, did anybody see that it was Abraham's? No. It was a room, you walked in and you ate. What was that? V'hatznei alechet im Hashem Elokecha. Doing tzedakah in a hidden way. That's another condition in Chasdo shel Avraham. We may have many philanthropists that give many millions, but so many times there's a catch, a big plaque. Guest of honor. You lost Avraham Avinu. You moved on to Eov's camp. You're already doing it! You're so great! You could be Avraham Avinu. Why mess it up over a little kavod? There's no point. Keep it quietly. I went to a gentleman. It took me almost 2 years to put together what happened. It was a close student of mine. I never ask for money. On rare occasions when an organization is beyond desperate, so then we have no choice, we ask for money. So I went to this guy one month. I told him, listen, we need $66,000 today to pay the bank. If not, the whole operation gets closed down. They freeze our accounts. It's not going to be a good scene. Give me the money. So I never asked you for a thing in all the years. If I'm asking you, it's an emergency. Give me the money. And there's a man who can afford it. Looks at me and says, Rabbi, I'm very sorry, but I'm not giving charity this month. Next month I'll help you out. I said, but I explained to you, it's an emergency for today. Next month we don't need. God will send from somebody else. Next month. I'm sorry. I went to a few more people. I scrapped together a few dollars. I went to the bank. I gave him the money. Thank God. Hashem sent other messengers. At the end of the month, my accountant calls me up. He tells me, Rabbi, something's not adding up in the accounts. I said, what's not adding up? He said, we went through all the copies of checks that you gave us that you made deposits, and there's more money in the account than the deposits you made. Something doesn't add up. You know about any other money that came into the account? I said, sometimes we forget to make a copy of a small check here and there. What's the big deal? He says, no, it's not a small amount. It's $66,000 extra. I said, I don't know. I call the bank. Maybe they made a mistake. I don't want to take money that's not mine. He says, I did that already because I know you're a straight man. They said there was a deposit made, $66,000 on this and this date. I said, yeah, that was me, but there was no 2 deposits made. That was to cover a debt. He says, there were 2 deposits made. So I said, tell them to give you a copy, a record of what the second deposit was. They don't want to release it. Okay. Somehow, much later on, I got to know somebody in the bank, and this was burning in my mind. I said, give me a copy of that deposit that day. He says, I can't give it to you, but I could show it to you. And he shows me on a screen a copy of a check of that guy that said, I'm not giving you charity today. Only next month. I went to the guy's office straight, I didn't even call him. I said, Jimmy, what's going on with you? What'd you do to me? He says, Rabbi, if I would have given you the money to your hand, I would have been the hero who saved the day. You would have given me kavod, you would have praised me, you would have told me how great I am, and I would have lost my mitzvah. I didn't want to lose my mitzvah. So I called up your secretary the second you left the office and said, give me the account information and swear to me you'll never tell Rabbi again that I called. And I went to the bank myself and I made a deposit. Now that he found out, I have no choice. I have to tell you what happened. He said, and if next time you don't want me to push you off, you want me to give you the check, promise me that you'll say one small thank you and leave, without all the rest of the hot air around. Ahavat chesed. Ve'hatznei alechet. In the most hidden way. Avraham Avinu's restaurants that nobody knew what's going on with them. Did anybody know whose pits those were with the Olei and the Galim? No. They were pits with water. Everybody could drink, whoever wants. Avraham Avinu came and saved his daughter. That's why they were short. They didn't have to send rescue crews. They didn't have to send missions. They didn't have to do nothing. Avraham Avinu. Eliezer had a problem. He said, wait a second. If the girl offers me her jug, that's regular chesed, not for me. If the girl gives me the drink, that's already Avraham Avinu's chesed. But maybe she's doing it for kavod. Maybe she's doing it for a thank you. Maybe she's doing it because she likes me. I'm going to give the donkeys to drink too. The donkeys don't say thank you to anybody. You could be a camel. You could be giving a camel to drink and he'll kick you while he's drinking. That's literal. That's not an exaggeration. That proves that she's perfectly Avraham Avinu's chesed school. Then we know we got a good candidate. Chazdo shel Avraham Avinu. Okay, now let's go back to the original Gemara in Sukkah and what this was done. Tonight we came out with a big one. Comes the Gemara in Sukkah and says, what's Ahavat Chesed? Comes the Gemara and says a big chidush according to this. You know, want to know what Ahavat Chesed is? Zug Milut Chasadim. How do you qualify that your Chesed is a real Chesed like Avraham Avinu? Ahavat Chesed, that you love doing acts of kindness, that you actively look for acts of kindness, and you're pained if you can't give another Jew. Somebody told me at the end of a class last night, a long list of problems. He says, but to me the thing that hurts me most is that I used to give tens of thousands of dollars a week to charity, and today I don't have that money anymore. And it drives me nuts. And I promised God, he tells me, that if I ever make money again, first I'm going to give charity. Then I'm going to take for myself. Because that's most important to me. That's a person that lives by Ahavat Chesed. May Borei Olam bless us that in our life, our Chesed should always be Chazdo shel Avraham Avinu. And if we stick to Chazdo shel Avraham Avinu himself will always protect us from all harm and save us in time of need and bless us with all the best. Zocher Chazdei Avot u'mevi goel livnei v'nehem. May Borei Olam bring us to Geulah v'mirav Amenu Amen v'Amen.